People are taking fewer rideshare rides in New York City. Let's talk about it. Welcome everybody. It's Joe time, and if you're not a subscriber to this channel, before you do anything, please subscribe by clicking on my little face in the corner and ring that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. Go ahead, I'll wait. Now today, what we're going to talk about is ridership in New York City. And I think this is really insightful. I think what I'm taking away from this story, I'm getting it from Business Insider, says a lot about the culture of rideshare, not just in New York City, but about what it could be. Let's read this. People are taking fewer Uber and Lyft rides in New York City, the United States' most lucrative and important market for ride hailing. But an analyst says the drop isn't as bad as some feared. Now this is really interesting because when we're doing the stories about Assembly Bill 5 in California, all of the news stories say that's the biggest and most lucrative market. Now we're doing a story on New York and it says that's the biggest and most lucrative market. I don't know. I just think those little inconsistencies are interesting, but that's not why I wanted to talk about this. According to data from the city's Taxi and Limousine Commission analyzed by Bloomberg News, the total number of Uber rides fell about 8% from March to May, while Lyft rides fell slightly by about 0.4%. I'm guessing 0.4% is close to insignificant. But I know when you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, maybe it's not as insignificant as I think. 8%, however, ooh, that's a big drop. However, is it as impactful as we think? Because what else is going on in New York and what's causing this? They're charging a little more money, right? And that we're going to get into that. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse. However, is that offsetting? Okay, I'm getting fewer rides, but I'm charging more for them. Where does that put us in the end financially? New York City earlier this year imposed a minimum wage law for ride-hailing service drivers. It was met with stiff opposition from Lyft over how the wage was calculated, but it pushed up passenger fares throughout the 5 boroughs. Okay, pushed up fares. A few people decided to stop taking Uber. What did they do instead? We're going to get to that. Eric Sheridan, an analyst at UBS, said the regulatory changes had far less of an effect than some had forecast. And here's his quote. Data indicates that higher prices have had minimal impact on demand. Minimal impact on demand. What's that telling us? That's telling us, Uber, you can raise your rates and pay your drivers fairly and still run a good business. If you take away anything, I hope you got this far, everybody, and you can probably cut it off after this. Don't, but you probably could, because that's the biggest takeaway from this. They raised rates. They had to pay drivers more, and it was a minimal impact. Indicating Uber and Lyft may have more pricing power than investors think, Eric Sheridan said in a note to clients on Tuesday. An Uber representative said that the biggest decline due to price hikes was in the company's shared ride. Oh, the shared rides. Uber Pool. Get those bums out of there. We don't want Uber Pool anyways, for the most part. There are some of you that say, yeah, I kind of like it, but I think the majority, I'll bet it's running in the 90% area. Most of you don't want the pool rides. So that's where the biggest decline was. All right. And March to April is usually a decline, but this was larger this year, likely because of price increases. Next sentence is not necessarily a bombshell, but really important. Riders who tend to take Uber Pool generally have more price sensitivity, the Uber representative added. So this is affecting Uber Pool. Man, this is looking better and better. What I'm taking away from this is Uber and Lyft can raise rates and pass that on to drivers. They're saying we can't pay drivers more. It's affecting our bottom line. Hogwash. You can do, the only thing it's going to affect are these Uber Pool, which is, it's the bottom of the barrel. We don't really want that. You don't have to serve everybody, right? You don't have to be the finest steakhouse in the city, but you also don't have to be the lowliest greasy spoon. You know, you can get the greasy spoon customers out of there. There's something good about being in the middle. Yeah, I can serve, fast food cheeseburgers, and I can have, something that's sit down but casual service. I don't need both extremes to be successful. Uber's trying to be everything to everybody. And I think what's happening in New York is good. I think it's good that the Uber pool, we're getting the riffraff out of the mix. And I know that sounds like a real derogatory term, and I suppose it is, but we don't have pool in my market. At least I have never, when I was driving, I've been taking quite a hiatus from driving. But from what I hear from everybody that has it, you hate it. It's terrible. It's where a largest number of problems and complaints and issues arise. So why not? And it pays the least. It's probably least financially beneficial to the company and certainly to drivers. So if we can just weed that out and still make good money, why not do it? Lyft did not respond to a request from a comment. All right. The minimum wage rules have, and this is a quote, have translated into pretty substantial price increases to the consumer, said Dastardly Dara. But overall, if you look at the dollar growth in New York, it's still a healthy city for us. Bam! Did you hear that? It's a pretty substantial price increase, but it's still a healthy city. Uber, wake up and smell the toast burning. All you have to do is be fair. We have said this so many times. If we were getting paid more, you wouldn't have Assembly Bill 5. You wouldn't have all these minimum wage laws. We would have been happy little campers as independent contractors making what we can make. We make more when we hustle. We make a little more less when we're lazy. It wouldn't have had to lead to this. We wouldn't have minimum wage laws for drivers. We wouldn't have Assembly Bill 5 trying to make us employees. We wouldn't have all that. Because Uber and Lyft, all you had to do was treat us fairly. And you're proving to yourself that that can work. Is it going to change anything? So now we're dealing with the two extremes on either coast. Is it going to change anything everywhere else? Are you going to wake up? Are you going to open your eyes and see, hey, we can be fair. We can charge a little bit more. It's not going to affect our bottom line. We can still be a lucrative company. Or, as I suspect, are you going to keep on going the same old way, irritating people, ticking off drivers, and just having a contentious relationship between those who bring in money? It's your call, Uber and Lyft. And as far as everyone that's watching, as always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. Please leave your comments down below. If you haven't already, subscribe and ring that bell icon so you know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Mark with UberHints. Oh, and by the way, before we say goodbye in this one, I'm going to encourage everybody to come in for Saturday's live stream. I know I keep promoting it this week. I think it's going to be a good one. I'm going to talk about some really neat things. I have some really interesting things to show you. My ride book, which I think is going to be fun. I'm unveiling a new sticker this weekend. We're going to talk about the new mug. There's going to be so many neat topics to talk about. I hope I see you there, 10 a.m. Central Time on the UberHints channel. So long, everyone.